Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, this is why you should subscribe to Attack on Cowboys. I've been telling y'all, the Jones family are not done as it pertains to trading and getting more players on this team. And Jerry just confirmed exactly that. Let's jump right into it, but we're not just going to talk about what Jerry said. I'm going to actually show y'all some realistic and very viable candidates for the Dallas Cowboys to acquire this season before the trade deadline. Be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content just like this. Let's get right into it. Man, shut your up. All right, right here, John Machota, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones on 105.3 The Fan on if they're open to adding defensive help via trade. He said, quote, absolutely. I'm open for business, period. Relative now that we have those extra picks. We should be. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we needed to hear. We all know for a fact when the Cowboys aren't open for business, something that they will say is we like what we have, or, oh, we got guys coming up on the horizon. Like they said, as it pertains to the corner room, which is why I really feel like cornerback will not be the position the Cowboys end up making a trade for. So I'm going to eliminate that off of my realistic options for the Cowboys to go after. Let's go ahead and jump right into some of these candidates and some of the teams that the Cowboys will most likely be willing to do business with. And we're going to start off right here. Let's take a look at the standings. The best way to see who's going to be buyers and sellers is see who sucks and who doesn't. And right now in the NFC, the teams that really suck are the Giants, the Saints, the Bears. I don't think that they're going to really want to trade any players. They are 0-2. I'm not saying they suck as it pertains to actually like how good they are, but they're 0-2 based off the 2 games that they've already played. And the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to say this right now. One of those teams I do believe is a very likely potential trade partner, and it's going to be the New Orleans Saints. The main reason I say that is because of Kellen Moore. I don't think that Kellen Moore necessarily has any bad blood with the Cowboys, and usually when you see teams doing deals with each other, see the Philadelphia Eagles and the trades that they've made this offseason, is between organizations that have ties with each other in some sort of decision-making capacity. The Saints and the Cowboys, they have ties. Kellen Moore, head coach of the Saints now, why wouldn't he be willing to do the solid for the Dallas Cowboys? And who would they possibly go after on the Saints roster, you may ask? None other than Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara would be a very, very explosive and serious move to make for the Dallas Cowboys, and I think it could be made at a very, very affordable rate. One, he only has 1 year remaining on his deal after this season, so he's going to be a free agent in the 2027 offseason, meaning whatever team trades for him, they don't have that long-term security already intact, which means the trade value goes down a little bit. You add in the fact that Alvin Kamara is 30 years old. The trade value goes down a little bit. However, he's still very, very productive. He's still averaging 4.5 yards per carry, 144 yards so far this season on 32 attempts. So Alvin Kamara is still Alvin Kamaraing, but the Saints suck. And the Saints probably should go into full tank mode to start building for their future at this point. And what better way than to send one of your most treasured veterans off and send him more into a more competitive environment. And it's not anywhere too far from where he already is from a family standpoint, right? Usually when you see these type of situations, franchises try to take care of guys, and I'm willing to bet that Alvin Kamara would not mind coming to play for the Dallas Cowboys. That right there would be something I would keep an eye on, and it would not take necessarily one of our first-round picks. That's a third, fourth-round pick type of trade right there, especially for an older running back on an expiring contract after next season. There's no way that it would warrant us to even spend one of our firsts, but the presence of those first-round picks makes the rest of these picks expendable, which is why this is so interesting. But as it pertains to Alvin Kamara's contract situation, he's only going to count $18 million against the cap next season. If you were to trade for him this season, obviously it will be a prorated deal, so it will probably be like $6 million against the cap right now this season. So obviously the Cowboys, they have space for it. Honestly, the cap thing isn't going to be an issue with any of the guys I'm going to discuss with you today. I'm not going to be just pulling the best players from teams that doesn't make sense at all. Some of these could possibly make a little bit of sense. The next teams are all from the AFC. I think the rest of these teams are likely going to be AFC teams. And there's some very, very interesting options. I would have named 3 teams off top. Miami Dolphins, they're at 0-3. That's a very, very obvious team to think about. Hey, they may be willing to do some trading and start rebuilding this thing, get rid of their coach, and just start over fresh, right? The Cleveland Browns, the New York Jets. The New York Jets is another interesting team to keep an eye on, and I'm going to show you why in just a second. But we're going to go ahead and start with the Miami Dolphins, because I do think this is one of the more interesting ones. Which player do you guys feel like I'm about to discuss for the Miami Dolphins? No, it's not Jalen Phillips, the guy that I'm sure other people have talked to y'all about already. It's actually someone who's playing much better than him, but someone that's almost in somewhat of a similar situation as him as it pertains to battling some injuries, having to come back, even though he is productive when he's on the field. He's battling some injuries. There's some question marks. He's already been traded in his career. Talking about none other than Bradley Chubb, ladies and gentlemen. Bradley Chubb, the first round, number 5 pick from the Denver Broncos in the 2018 draft. 6'4", 275 pounds, has 3 sacks already this season. Why would the Dolphins be willing to trade Bradley Chubb then? If he has 3 sacks and he's 29 years old, he's going to be 30 by the time next season starts, but he's 29 years old. Why would the Dolphins want to trade? For one, again, same thing. Dolphins, they're going to want to reset their franchise at some point. What better way to reset it? Get rid of your head coach. Start over with some of these aging veterans, these aging veteran star players you have on your team. Kind of reset your salary cap a little bit. Bradley Chubb would absolutely be one of the first people you would look at as one of those salary cap resetters, mainly because he already is someone that's had to do some contract gymnastics for the Dolphins as recent as this offseason, ladies and gentlemen. If you actually take a look at it, Bradley Chubb revised his contract with the Dolphins this past offseason, agreeing to take a pay cut in his 2025 base salary from $19.5 million all the way down to $3.2 million. In the process, his cap number went from more than $28 million to $12.4 million. So about $16 million in cap savings for the Dolphins is what Bradley Chubb gave them with that revised contract. With the Dolphins sucking, they're now 0-3. If they get to 0-4 and God forbid 0-5, ain't no telling what they're going to start trading away at that point. But think about this. The Dolphins were going to release him had he not done that. So they were already kind of having some buyer's remorse with the Bradley Chubb acquisition. He's giving some money back. They still suck. The team is in disarray. He could very easily end up being an attractive trade candidate. And due to his injury history, due to Bradley Chubb's injury history, where he missed, it looks like the whole 2024 season, and he missed games in the 2022 season, and in the 2021 season, and in the 2020 season, and in the 2019 season. He missed all these games. He's not going to be a guy that demands a huge contract, which means he fits kind of into the profile that Cowboys be looking for, a big-name player that has had some production when he's on the field, but has had issues that maybe has kept him from being a staple player for another organization. Bradley Chubb, I could very easily see end up being a guy they bring in to help rush that passer. Now, the last team I want to talk about as it pertains to this stuff is the New York Jets. The New York Jets is an interesting team because there's already been somebody that's been discussed a lot about being traded from the New York Jets, and that's going to be Breece Hall. Breece Hall is a free agent after the season. His name has already been in the rumor mill a lot, all offseason, all summer and spring, essentially. And I think that this is another one of those Alvin Kamara type of moves the Cowboys can make, except this guy's younger, and that would give them more of a younger star at that position and keep them from having to feel like they need to draft a rookie that they have to put all the onus on to be great. Breece Hall, highly productive player, 24 years old, going to be a free agent, so you would have to give him a new contract, but due to what he has essentially been in his career thus far, I don't think the contract that you would have to give someone like a Breece Hall will be outrageous or anything, right? I don't think that you would have to break the bank on a Breece Hall if you wanted to go ahead and sign him to a new deal. The most yards he's ever had in a season is only 994 yards. So very, very interesting option there. Been over 4 yards per carry for his entire career, though. So would be an affordable option, younger dude, and I think this would probably take a second, maybe a third round type of pick. I don't know, and I don't really believe you have to give a first round pickup just based off the fact that he's a free agent. So there's no control for the team that's trading for him. They're really taking a risk there. So it would kind of have to be almost like a sign and trade type of situation, but I would not be surprised at all. The connection there with Aaron White-Cotton, the New York Jets kind of trying to start over. You got a new head coach and is really trying to put his own print on this thing. Breece Hall, disgruntled free agent this upcoming season. Jets may want to get some value out of him, especially in a losing year. They may want to get some value out of him. Cowboys would be a premium team for that running back position. While I love what Javonte Williams has done so far, I think it's unrealistic to think that Javonte Williams is going to turn into some type of workhorse running back one type running back for the entire season and not need another guy in that running back room that's going to take some of that pressure off of him. I think Breece Hall could come in and him and Javonte Williams could absolutely split those carries. Maybe Breece could even come in as a starting type of back and give us even more of a punch right there. Then you'd be able to supplement that with a Javonte Williams. But having a Javonte Williams and a Breece Hall in that running back room would be very, very enticing as a Dallas Cowboys fan. As much as I would want them to add to the defensive side of the ball, so maybe try to look at somebody on the Jets defensive side of the ball, especially with the Aaron White-Cotton connection. But Breece Hall, I think, is going to be probably at the top of the list as it pertains to potential trade candidates. So, again, the Dallas Cowboys are in business. I just gave you guys some of my thoughts on who are the people that the Cowboys could potentially be looking at, or we as fans who we should keep an eye on. They already said they're really not trying to get a cornerback, which is really why I didn't spend too much time looking for corners that will be available. Jerry said that they think that they're going to have help coming from inside the building for the corner room. Savone Rebel, Josh Butler, all those guys are coming back. Trevon's going to be getting healthier. So I don't think they're going to go for a corner. So I absolutely think that another pass rusher or another playmaker on the offensive side of the ball could be in play here, especially if they don't like what they're seeing out of Miles Sanders, especially for as much as they're trying to use Miles Sanders in these games, right? Either way, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. What position or what players would you want to see the Cowboys trade for, especially since Jerry just let us know that, yeah, we got the extra picks. We are, in fact, open for business. Bow! Them Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still the ball? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Hey! I'm still them boys.